It's hard to fathom, but do you realize that some of the smaller college basketball conferences will start holding their tournaments here in another 3.5 to 4 weeks, and then we've got March Madness right around the corner. Yeah, I know the focus is on that little game they're going to be holding out in Santa Clara this weekend between the Broncos and the Panthers, but listen, guys, this is where you make your money right now in college basketball from now through the end of March. And as I've repeatedly told you, at this stage of the season, you got to continue to dance with the girl you brought. And what I mean by that, if you happen to be a newcomer to the video reports, is simply this. At this stage of the year, you've had almost 2.5, 3 months of college basketball. You should be just focusing on the conferences you do the best in. For me, that girl that I'm dancing with, I can generally find her in the Big 12, in the Atlantic 10, and the Metro Atlantic Conference. Yeah, that's right. The Metro Atlantic. Been very profitable. Won again last night there with Monmouth, taking care of business on the road against Siena. As a matter of fact, I've used Monmouth twice over the past 4 Mondays, and 2 times they snapped lengthy home winning streaks by their opponents. I think when they won at Iona back on January 18th, Iona had won like 25 straight games at home. And then last night when they won at Siena, even though they were playing like their 3rd game in a 5-day stretch, they took care of business. And I believe Siena had won something like 10 straight going into that game at home and undefeated this season. But again, you primarily have to go ahead and narrow down a card and look at the teams and in the conferences where you know the most about. And that really ultimately is what it always comes down to when it comes to winning in college basketball. Because when you try to diversify without the knowledge, when you dip your toes in the conferences that you have absolutely no clue about, that's when problems start. Listen, look at tonight's card. You'll see like 6 Mid-American Conference games in a row listed down there. I can count on one hand the number of Mid-American Conference games that I have actually bet on in the past 3 years. On one hand. So when I see those games tonight, I go, well, those are 6 games I don't have to bother handicapping. Boom, let's move right down the card. And that's what I do in conferences that I just have absolutely no clue about. And there's other small ones, too. I mean, you look at the West Coast Conference and the Big West Conference, 2 other conferences that have always been very profitable for me. The other thing that I think is very important that you always have to realize is that when I say that you concentrate the most where the odds makers concentrate the least, listen, the marquee games are always going to have the sharpest lines. They're always going to be the most difficult to handicap. So often you will find more value in some of these small potato conferences. With that being said, listen, speaking of a small potato conference, how about Scott Delaney last night? Another 100-dime winner with Mercer. -2.5 winning at Samford by 15 points. You got it for over half price off. And today he's got another 100-dime max wager release. In fact, number 22 out of 31. It's on UNLV and New Mexico. It's the half-price play of the day as he goes for his 8th straight winning day with another 100-dime max wager release. In all sports combined over the past 4 years, he's got 105 wins versus 62 losses and 2 pushes with those 100-dime plays. And he's made $10 bettors a little over $37,000 with plays rated 50 dimes or higher over the past 4 years as well. So you get it for half price simply by using coupon code 8ROW. 8, the number 8, ROW, because he's going for his 8th straight winning day. And of course, for me, I've got another normal top-rated 15-dime release, number 7 out of 8 on Iowa State and West Virginia. Again, going into one of my favorite conferences, the Big 12. And again, as I go for winning day number 11 out of 13, you save $55 on the play. It matches the savings and the winner that you got last night on Monmouth, simply by using coupon code REBOUND, REBOUND. All your other promos, etc. can be found on the homepage, including the charity play of the week. Let's get to the complimentary plays now for you. The first game I'm going to take a look at is going to be the Boise State contest. Now, Boise State is a 10-point favorite tonight at home against Utah State. The Aggies are coming off an 89-84 loss to Nevada. It was a game in which the Wolfpack on Saturday didn't arrive in Logan, Utah because of the blizzard, the snow conditions they had out there, didn't arrive until after midnight the night of the game. In other words, they arrived after midnight. I said this incorrectly. They arrived after midnight and they were playing later that day. They had to bus themselves over to the contest. On the other hand, you had a Utah State team that had a whole week to prepare. And they still lost to the Wolfpack 89-84. In fact, they were down 18 points early, and it was only because they made a late charge to make that game respectable. They have lost 6 of their last 8 games. Meanwhile, Boise, a team that had been on a very nice run, suddenly has lost 2 straight games. They're coming off an 88-83 home loss to New Mexico, a game in which they shot 39%. Not too good there, obviously. And for a team that is very good shooting the ball, it was quite a shock. And then they lost at UNLV 87-77. They had won 12 of their previous 13 games before losing these 2 straight contests. Boise's problem all season long is they just don't play a lick of defense. I mean, they are in the bottom third of all the Division I teams when it comes to defending anybody on the floor from any point, whether it's a 2-point shot or a 3-point shot. They were awful last year, and at this point of the season, they're even more awful, if that's possible to even consider. Still, I do like Boise State to rebound here. They are by far the better team. Now, when they went to Logan, Utah and played the Aggies earlier this season, they won by 15 points back on January 5th. It was a close game in the first half. And then in the second half of that contest, Boise State just erupted. They shot 79.8% in the second half of the game. They shot over 59% in the contest as well. And they also forced Utah State to turn the ball over 16 times. So I think coming off 2 straight losses, playing at home, great spot to take Boise State and lay the big number in this one. Next complimentary play, I'm going to go with New Mexico and revenge at home tonight against UNLV. Listen, UNLV made a coaching change. They got rid of Dave Rice and they promoted his assistant to the interim position. And they won their first 2 games, but then they went to Nevada. And this was their last road game. And I remember because I used this play as a complimentary play. They went to Nevada a couple of weeks ago, and they lost outright as a 5.5-point road favorite in that contest. They don't play well on the road. Outside of the Thomas Max, they don't play well. They're 2-5 straight up and true road games this season. They're taking on a New Mexico team that is seeking revenge because the first game that UNLV played under their new interim coach, Todd Simon, it was against New Mexico. It was at Thomas and Mack Center, and the Running Rebels won that game by a double-digit margin. Well, New Mexico is playing well. I just told you they came off the road upset of Boise State. They've won 3 straight games. It's a young team. They're 6-2 in the Mountain West Conference. That's number 2 in the conference standings. I like them here tonight to rebound. I just think they're playing with confidence. UNLV is coming off a loss to San Diego State. Now, understand, UNLV to be successful has to run the ball. Run the floor. They need to excel in transition. San Diego State was a team that just slowed down the pace, put UNLV in a half-court game. When UNLV plays half-court basketball, they are just awful this season. They have the athletes, but can they run? I think New Mexico is going to be more than willing to run with them tonight. But playing in the pit in Albuquerque, love New Mexico in this particular contest. The other complimentary play, I'm going to go with UMass. UMass as the home dog, as I think they're going to beat Rhode Island here tonight. Now, I gave you a complimentary play with St. Joseph's over Rhode Island on Saturday. And it was a game where Rhode Island was playing in revenge after losing a hard-fought game in a bitterly contested contest at St. Joe's a few weeks earlier. This was a repeat performance, a very physical game, a bitterly contested game, a game in which St. Joe's, 2 of their players had flagrant 1 fouls called on them. And they were costly fouls from Rhode Island's perspective because 2 starters left the game with injuries, and both starters are doubtful for tonight's contest. One is their starting point guard, Jarvis Garrett, who's averaging 12 points, 4 rebounds, and 4.3 assists a game. The other one is starting forward, Karan Iverson, the forward averaging 10.5 points, 6.5 rebounds a game. Now, they are both doubtful tonight. This is a Rhode Island team that has had constant problems on the road in terms of the number of fouls they get called on them. That even carried over in their loss at home to St. Joe's on Saturday, which is very unusual because generally speaking, the home team is going to get the benefit of the official's whistle. Listen, Rhode Island is a crackdown defensive team. Even though St. Joe's won that game, they only shot 38.5% from the field, okay? But you might be missing 2 starters here tonight. I got to go with with Massachusetts here, even though Massachusetts has been awful. 1-7 in conference play. They're coming off an overtime home loss to Fordham. They lost their prior game at St. Joe's by 8 points. They've lost 7 in a row. They've given up at least 78 points in every single one of those games. But one little caveat to this all. The Rams have not won in Amherst since 2009. I don't think they're winning tonight. The line has dropped from 3 to 2.5, but that's okay. I think UMass is going to win this game outright. So the 3 complimentary plays tonight, again, UMass going along with Boise State and New Mexico. If I had to grade the complimentary plays, I think Boise and UMass would be tied there at the top, with New Mexico coming in slightly underneath them. That'll do it, guys. Make sure you check out the Charity Play of the Week, which is available tonight from Gabriel DuPont, as it looks for winning week number 6 out of 7. And best of luck to you all, and I'll catch you again tomorrow when we do this one more time.